Welcome back to Zcoins. Today, we are counting down the top 5 most valuable Washington quarter dollar coins ever sold, including rare mint errors, low mintage treasures, and pristine condition examples that have fetched jaw-dropping prices in recent auctions. Make sure to stick around to number 1 because it might just shock you how much a single quarter can be worth in the current collector's market. We're diving deep into a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket or collection right now. We're talking about the 1966 Washington quarter dollar. This isn't just any regular quarter. This one has a story behind it and, in some cases, a surprising price tag. By the end of this video, you'll understand why collectors pay serious money for certain 1966 quarters and how to spot one worth big bucks. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. It was originally intended as a one-year commemorative issue. But its popularity led to it becoming the standard design for the quarter dollar. Fast forward to 1966. The United States was in the middle of a coin crisis. Just 2 years earlier, in 1964, the U.S. Mint had stopped making quarters out of 90% silver. Rising silver prices had caused people to hoard coins, especially dimes, quarters, and half dollars. In response, the Mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition starting in 1965.So. What makes the 1966 quarter special? Unlike earlier quarters, the 1966 Washington quarter contains no silver. Instead, it's made from a copper core layered with a copper-nickel alloy. It weighs about 5.67 grams and has a reeded edge. Here's where things get really interesting. Because of the coin shortage, the U.S. Mint did not place mint marks on coins struck in 1965, 1966, or 1967. That means all 1966 quarters appear to be from the Philadelphia Mint, even though some were actually struck at other mints like Denver or San Francisco. This was done deliberately to discourage coin hoarding based on mint marks. Now, let's talk about mintage. In 1966, over 821 million Washington quarters were produced. That's a huge number. Because of this, most circulated examples today are only worth their face value of 25 cents. But as every collector knows, it's not just about how many were made. It's about condition, rarity, and errors. If you have a 1966 quarter in uncirculated condition, especially one graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, you could be looking at a much higher value. A standard mint state coin can be worth anywhere from $5 to $20 depending on its grade. But if you're lucky enough to own one in gem mint state, such as MS66 or MS67, the value can shoot up fast. For example, a 1966 Washington quarter graded MS67 by PCGS sold for over $4,000 at auction. Why? Because coins in that high a grade are extremely hard to find. Remember, these were not proof coins. Most went straight into circulation. So finding one in pristine condition is rare, but wait, it gets even better. Some 1966 quarters have valuable mint errors that make them worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die. This occurs when the coin's design is accidentally struck twice by the die, causing parts of the design or lettering to appear doubled. Though not common, any doubling on the obverse or reverse should definitely be examined by an expert. Another popular error is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during the striking process. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing or shifted. Depending on how severe the misalignment is and how much of the design is visible, these can fetch $50 to several $100s. There are also examples of coins struck on the wrong planchet. That means the blank used to make the coin came from a different denomination, like a dime or foreign coin. These off-metal errors are extremely rare and can be worth thousands. Let's not forget about proof like an SMS, or special mint set coins. In 1966, the U.S. Mint did not produce traditional proof sets. Instead, it released special mint sets which contain specially struck coins that are a step above regular business strikes but not quite proof quality. These coins have a shinier finish and can be more valuable if they are well preserved. An SMS 1966 quarter in pristine condition with a cameo finish can easily reach $100 or more. So what's the current market looking like in 2025? While common 1966 quarters are still worth face value, collectors are willing to pay good money for high-grade, rare error coins and SMS coins in exceptional condition. The market has remained strong, with top auction houses continuing to see five-figure bids for the finest examples. Here's a quick value breakdown. A circulated 1966 quarter, worth 25 cents. A mint state example in MS63, around $5. A gem MS66 coin, between $50 and $100. An MS67 or higher, up to $4,000 or more. Error coins, anywhere from $50 to several $1,000s depending on the type and rarity. SMS cameo coins in top condition, typically $100 to $200, now you know what to look for. Don't ignore those older quarters you get in change. Flip through your collection, check those rolls, and keep your eyes open for sharp details, mirror-like finishes, and any unusual features. You never know, you could be holding a small fortune in your hand. Today we're diving deep into the world of the 1972 Washington quarter dollar. This is more than just pocket change, some of these coins are worth a fortune if you know what to look for. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Since then, it has become one of the most collected coins in American history. The 1972 D quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, and it carries a small D mint mark just below the eagle on the reverse side. Now, how many were made? Over 311 million of these quarters were struck in 1972 at the Denver Mint. That means most of them are very common. But the truth is, not all 1972 D quarters are created equal. Some rare variations and condition grades can push their value way beyond their face value. Let's talk about what makes a 1972 D quarter valuable. The first factor is condition. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with MS70 being a perfect uncirculated coin. If your 1972 D quarter is in pristine condition with no wear, sharp details, and strong luster, it could be worth much more than 25 cents. According to recent auction results, a 1972 D quarter graded MS67 by a professional grading service sold for over $1,000. Yes, that's right, over $1,000 for a single quarter. The reason it fetched such a high price is simple. Out of hundreds of millions minted, very few have survived in perfect condition, but wait, there's more. In the world of coin collecting, errors and varieties are like gold mines. Some 1972 D quarters have fascinating minting mistakes that can make them very valuable. Look out for doubled dies, where the design appears slightly duplicated. This happens during the minting process when the die shifts and strikes the coin more than once. Doubled die obverses or reverses can add big bucks to your coin's value. Another rare error to look for is an off-center strike. That's when the coin design is not properly centered, leaving a blank crescent on one side. If your 1972 D quarter has a major off-center strike and still shows the date and mint mark clearly, you could have a coin worth several $100s or more. There are also clipped planchets, die cracks, and other striking errors that can boost value. These types of coins are highly sought after by error coin collectors, and their prices can vary depending on the severity and rarity of the error. So where should you look for these quarters? Start with your own pocket change. Check your piggy bank, your car, that old coin jar in the kitchen, or even ask friends and family if they have any old change lying around. You'd be surprised how often these valuable coins show up in everyday places. If you're serious about finding and collecting valuable coins, consider buying a good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. You'll want to closely inspect every coin for small errors that the naked eye might miss. You can also check out local coin shops, coin shows, and even online auction sites like eBay or Heritage Auctions to compare what similar coins are selling for. And now let's talk about the current market value of the 1972 D quarter. In circulated condition, most of these coins are only worth face value, 25 cents. But in uncirculated condition, especially graded MS65 or higher, their value rises quickly. MS65 coins can go for $15 to $30. MS66 can fetch around $50 to $100. MS67 and above are much rarer and can go for hundreds, even over $1,000 depending on demand and quality. Error coins are a different story. A dramatic double die or off-center strike can easily bring in $200 to $500 or more, depending on how rare and visible the error is. It's important to remember that coin values are always influenced by supply, demand, and condition. So if you think you have a valuable 1972 D quarter, get it graded by a professional third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. Having an official grade not only helps you know its worth but also makes it much easier to sell. So there you have it. The 1972 D Washington quarter may seem like ordinary change, but in the right condition or with the right error, it can be worth big money. Keep your eyes open, check your change, and never underestimate the power of a single coin. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload. We cover rare coins, valuable paper money, and everything in between. Let us know in the comments if you've ever found a rare quarter, and we might feature your story in a future video. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of coin collecting with a special focus on one of the most intriguing coins of modern U.S. currency history, the 1979 Washington quarter dollar. You might think it's just another everyday coin, but some versions of this quarter have proven to be incredibly valuable to collectors and investors alike. Whether you found one in your pocket change or inherited a few from a family collection, what you're about to learn might just surprise you. The 1979 Washington quarter was part of the long-running Washington quarter series that began in 1932. It was originally struck to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, but due to its popularity and practicality, the design stuck around for decades. By 1979, the Washington quarter had seen a few subtle changes in design and minting quality, but it was still a staple of American pocket change. And now, 1979 was not a particularly low mintage year. In fact, hundreds of millions of these quarters were minted across three different mints: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. However, the real story lies not in the quantity but in the variations, errors, and overall condition of these coins. Let's break down what makes the 1979 Washington quarter so interesting. First, there's the matter of the mint mark. Coins from Philadelphia typically have no mint mark. Denver coins are marked with a small d, and San Francisco coins bear an S. While the Philadelphia and Denver coins were intended for circulation, the San Francisco Mint primarily struck proof coins. These proof coins were never meant for general use. Instead, they were specially made for collectors, struck using highly polished dies to give them a mirror-like finish. Some of the 1979's proof quarters are particularly sought after because of what is known as the Type 1 and Type 2 variations. Type 1 features a blob-like S mint mark, while Type 2 has a clearer, more defined S. Type 2 is far scarcer and therefore much more valuable. This small detail has led to big profits for those lucky enough to own the right version. Aside from mint marks and proof types, error coins from 1979 can also be extremely valuable. These include off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, and clipped planchets. A double die error, where the coin's design appears to be duplicated or shadowed, can make a 25-cent piece worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its condition. Likewise, coins that were improperly cut or struck on the wrong planchet have commanded high prices at auction. Grading also plays a major role in a coin's value. A 1979 quarter in circulated condition is typically worth its face value, just 25 cents. But in mint-state condition, particularly MS65 and above, the value increases significantly. Coins graded MS67 or higher are quite rare, and these top-grade quarters can sell for well over $100. Add an error or special mint type into the mix, and the price can jump dramatically. Let's talk current market value. As of now, a regular 1979 quarter from the Philadelphia or Denver Mint in circulated condition still holds only its face value. But in uncirculated condition, it can fetch between $3 and $10 depending on its grade. However, if you have a 1979's Type 2 proof quarter, you're looking at anywhere from $50 to over $400 based on condition and demand. And error coins? Some have sold for over $1,000 in private sales and auctions. Collectors are always looking for unique pieces, and a clean, well-documented error can attract big bids. What's more, as coin collecting continues to gain popularity, values tend to increase. Rare variations from common years like 1979 are especially appealing to new collectors who want a slice of history without breaking the bank. That's why now might be a good time to dig through your old change jars, check those coin albums, or ask your relatives if they have any old quarters stashed away. So in summary, while most 1979 Washington quarters are still worth just 25 cents, some specific versions, like high-grade uncirculated coins, proof coins with clear Type 2's mint marks, and unique mint errors, can be worth big money. The key is knowing what to look for. If you think you might have a valuable coin, it's always worth having it professionally graded and appraised. And who knows, that quarter you almost used in a vending machine might just be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1981 Washington quarter dollar. This might look like just another coin in your change jar, but you'll be surprised to learn how much it's worth to collectors, especially in high-grade or rare condition. So whether you're a beginner or a seasoned numismatist, stay tuned because this coin could be worth way more than 25 cents. Let's start with the history of the Washington quarter. First introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, this iconic coin quickly became a staple in American pockets. Originally meant to be a one-year commemorative issue, its popularity ensured it stuck around permanently. The design, created by John Flanagan, features a left-facing bust of George Washington on the obverse, and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. Fast forward to 1981. The United States Mint struck millions of quarters that year, including at the Denver Mint, which is where our focus is today. The 1981 Washington quarter carries a D mint mark, indicating it was minted in Denver, Colorado. That year, the Denver Mint produced over 575 million quarters. That's right, more than 500 million. So naturally, you might ask, how can any of these be valuable? It all comes down to condition, rarity, and demand. In circulated condition, the average 1981 Washington quarter is worth face value 25 cents. That's not surprising considering the massive mintage. But when you find one in uncirculated condition or with rare errors, that's where the big money comes in. And now let's talk about grades. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, known as the Sheldon scale. A grade of MS60 or higher means the coin is mint state, it hasn't been used in circulation. For the 1981 quarter, MS60 coins can be worth around $1 to $3. But when you start getting into higher grades like MS65, MS66, or even MS67, the value can climb significantly. In MS66, the coin might fetch between $20 to $35. An MS67 1981 quarter is much harder to find and can sell for over $100, sometimes more, depending on the market and demand. The record auction price for a 1981 Washington quarter in pristine condition was over $500. That's right, a coin minted in the millions that originally cost just 25 cents brought in hundreds of dollars at auction. And the reason for that is simple: top-grade coins are rare. Most coins from that year were used daily, jingled around in pockets, and got scratched up over time. Finding a flawless specimen is like finding a needle in a haystack, but there's more to the story than just high grades. Let's talk about errors and varieties. Coin errors can dramatically increase the value of any coin, and the 1981 quarter is no exception. Some rare errors to look for include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet. These types of mint errors are highly sought after by collectors and can command prices from $50 to several $100s, depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. One specific error seen on some 1981 quarters is a partial collar strike, where the coin wasn't properly seated in the press, giving it an odd shape or rim. Another is the double die reverse, where the lettering or design appears doubled. If you happen to find a 1981 quarter with clear doubling, hold on to it, it could be worth a lot more than face value. So how do you know if your 1981 quarter is worth anything? First, check the condition. If it's scratched, worn, or dull, it's likely only worth 25 cents. But if it looks new and shiny, with no visible wear, it may be uncirculated. You can check the luster, the detail on Washington's hair, and the sharpness of the eagle on the back. If everything looks crisp and clean, it might be worth sending in to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Next, look for errors. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to examine the coin closely. Look for doubling in the lettering or design. Check the edges for unusual shapes or clips. If you think you've found an error coin, take a picture and get a second opinion from an expert before you sell it or spend it. Let's take a moment to talk about the current market. As of now, the demand for high-grade Washington quarters remains strong, especially for coins from the late 70s and early 80s. This era has become popular among collectors because many of these coins were heavily circulated and high-grade survivors are rare. With inflation and interest in hard assets on the rise, more people are turning to coins as both a hobby and an investment. On top of that, coin shows, online auctions, and social media communities have made buying and selling collectible coins easier than ever. If you have a 1981D quarter in MS66 or better, you can list it online on platforms like eBay or Heritage Auctions and possibly make a few $100s or more if it has an error or is especially eye-catching. So what's the bottom line? If you've got a jar of change sitting around at home, it's worth taking a closer look. The 1981D Washington quarter might not seem like much, but under the right conditions, it could be a small treasure. Remember, the value lies in the details, the condition, the grade, and the potential for rare errors. Coins like these are time capsules, small pieces of history that carry more than just monetary value. They tell stories of the economy, the mint, and the everyday lives of Americans. And sometimes, they tell the story of a lucky collector who turned a quarter into a payday. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of modern American coinage, exploring a coin you might just have lying around, the 1997 Washington quarter. Yes, that seemingly ordinary 25-cent piece could be worth a lot more than face value. In this video, we'll unpack the history of the Washington quarter, spotlight the 1997 Philadelphia Mint release, and reveal the rare varieties and errors that make certain coins worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars in today's market. So grab your coin jar and check your pocket change, because you won't want to miss the hidden gems this coin might hold. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse features a profile of the first U.S. president, while the reverse originally showcased an eagle with outstretched wings. This design lasted until the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999, making the 1997 quarter one of the last of the classic eagle-backed quarters. Now, let's focus on the 1997 Washington quarter. The P mint mark stands for Philadelphia, one of the oldest and most active mints in the United States. In 1997, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 595 million Washington quarters. Because of this massive mintage, most of these coins are still in circulation today, and in circulated condition, they're generally only worth their face value of 25 cents. But here's where things get interesting. Some 1997 quarters were struck with errors or unique characteristics that make them stand out to collectors. These rare variations can drive their value up significantly. Let's go over the key varieties and errors to look for. First, double dies. This is one of the most exciting and valuable types of minting errors. A doubled die occurs when the coin die itself is struck more than once out of alignment, creating a doubling effect on the coin's design. For the 1997 quarter, look closely at the word Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. If you see any doubling in the letters or numbers, you might have a rare and valuable coin. Second, off-center strikes. If your 1997 quarter looks like the design is shifted to one side, revealing an unstruck blank area, that's called an off-center strike. Depending on how far off-center it is, these coins can sell for anywhere from $50 to $500 or more. The more dramatic the off-center error, the higher the value. Third, clipped planchets. A clipped planchet occurs when the metal sheet used to make the coin is improperly fed into the blank cutting machine, resulting in a coin that looks like it has a bite taken out of it. These can fetch between $25 to $150 depending on the severity and appeal of the clip. Fourth, die cracks and cuds. Over time, coin dies wear out and may develop cracks. When these cracks appear on coins, they result in raised lines or blobs of metal, often seen on the rim or near the lettering. A cut is a specific type of die break that leaves a raised area where part of the die is missing. Some collectors pay a premium for strong die cracks and large cuds. Now, what about proof coins? In 1997, the San Francisco Mint also produced proof versions of the Washington quarter, but those carry an S mint mark, not a P. Still, if you come across a brilliant, mirror-like 1997 quarter, it could be a high-grade specimen. Uncirculated or mint-state coins graded MS65 and higher can bring in serious money. A 1997 quarter graded MS67 by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC can sell for upwards of $500, and MS68 examples, though extremely rare, can reach into the four-figure range at auction. So what's the current market doing? As of 2025, collectors are showing growing interest in modern era coins and high-grade examples of common coins. Online marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections have seen increased demand for premium quality 1997p quarters with strong eye appeal or dramatic mint errors. For example, a 1997p quarter with a significant off-center strike recently sold for over $275. A doubled die example, authenticated and graded, fetched nearly $700. Even well-preserved, uncirculated coins in MS-66 condition can easily bring $30 to $80, depending on the market. So what should you do? First, check your change. Look for any 1997 quarters with unusual features. Examine the lettering, the date, the rim, and both sides of the coin. If something looks off or different, it might be worth sending to a grading service for authentication. Second, store your finds properly. Use soft cotton gloves when handling potential collectibles and store them in coin flips, holders, or albums that are PVC free to prevent damage. And third, stay informed. Follow auction results, subscribe to coin collecting communities, and continue learning about what makes certain coins valuable. The more you know, the better your chances of spotting a hidden gem. To wrap things up, the 1997p Washington quarter might look like a simple piece of change, but certain rare varieties can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Whether it's a double die, off-center strike, clipped planchet, or high-grade mint state coin, there are hidden treasures still waiting to be discovered. So the next time you get change at the store, take a second look. That 25-cent coin could be your ticket to some serious cash. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more coin collecting tips, rare coin spotlights, and market updates. Drop a comment below if you found any cool errors or want to request a video on a specific coin. Until next time, happy hunting and good luck out there.